Thanks for tuning into Heavy, where we bring you the latest interviews with local, national and international artists. Today's victim is...
Chris here from Project 34. Shout out to Heavy Mag. Thanks so much for the interview and support.
My pleasure, mate. Thanks for joining us again today.
I really appreciate it, mate. Thanks for your patience. And I just wanted to say, thanks everybody for your patience in this release. It's been obviously a bit of a process, but we're here and onwards and upwards.
Things are worth waiting for, mate. Put a bit extra into it at this stage and it comes out better the other end, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Fair enough. I appreciate your support, mate. Thanks so much.
No worries, man. So Project 34 will release your next single, Heritage, on October 1st. So tell us a bit about the song musically and what you're going for with it.
Yeah, too easy, mate. So in a nutshell, the song's actually about our heritage. So it's the idea that the journey of life through many generations has built the person that we are today. So that premise, that bloodline, our experiences, that's what's filtered through via a cultural lineage to be allowing us as a vessel of creativity. And I come from a Middle Eastern background. Yeah. Although I am second generation Australian, don't speak the language, know little to nothing of my family and cultural background. And that is the lineage that really got me here. It basically died with my parents. So the song's a bit of a homage to that lineage, mate, which seems to be lost in time and has become less and less of a dynamic due to multiculturalism, which is a great thing, of course. But it's that realization that one's heritage is of extreme significance in the life of man, and the emotions and creativity that we express today. So that's basically the premise of the track, mate. And the lyrics are a bit of an abstract play on that idea. So I turn it on its head and discuss the loss of that realization. And as you can see in the film clip, as things start to burn away through fire of time, that's where I, personally began to question my identity due to that loss of cultural realization. And I'm in this bit of a limbo. So that's the bit of the premise of the track, man. I feel like a lot of people might be able to resonate with that theme.
Most definitely. And as per usual, mate, it comes with a visually stunning film clip set predominantly in a dry desert landscape that gradually spawns life to vegetation. Then it goes back into a burning forest that devours everything in its path. So what actual message is that portraying?
Yeah, man, as I referenced, it's sort of that cycle of life and death, that story of man from sunrise to sunset, and its repeating cycle. It's basically the premise of the album, and I can touch on it a bit later in a bit more detail. But the general premise of the album is that transition through life and death, and that story of man. So the film clip actually, transitions through that cycle, and that's what you're referencing there.
Mm-hmm. And at the very end of the video, it fades sort of into dark, focusing on a lone sprout or some form of plant. Is there a message that it's trying to leave us with there?
Yeah, man. Similarly, again, it's basically, from our ashes spawns new life. It's our ancestry and lineage which spawns the next generation, and that cycle that I've referenced. So, yeah, there's a lot of imagery and meaning in there. And just to give you guys the heads up, the video was actually produced by Andy Pilkington from Very Metal Art. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant videographer and video producer. So shout out to Andy as well for your great work there, mate.
Beautiful, well done. And the first single, as you mentioned, Heritage, is out on October the 1st. So I know it's like a little bit to go there, but tell us a bit about that song.
Yeah, too easy. So, look, the album is actually separated into 3 chapters. It's a 19-track album. It's quite lengthy. It's about 64 minutes in total. And each chapter has an individual tone to separate the transition through life and death, consistent with that theme. So we've experimented with many genres throughout the album, and combine them to form the overall product. So Heritage leans itself towards a melodic metal vibe, which is a good representation of the overall metal tone of the album.
Right, yeah.
However, the album is quite diverse, it's quite multi-genre with a lot of various influences. So yeah, that would probably align itself to the overall metal tone of the album.
And so tell us a bit more, like you just sort of touched on the album there, but tell us more about the themes, like what they explore on there.
Yeah, no dramas at all. So, look, the album was completed in full in 2021, and it's basically a representation of that point in time for us as artists. It's a representation of our foundation as Project 34. There is an overall metal theme, as I'm sure you're aware, although it's shrouded in other influences and tones, and it represents the emotion and anger we felt during the lockdowns and COVID-19. Look, vocally, it's quite dark and aggressive, it's a damnation and celebration of where we are today. So there's a variety of themes which will be present throughout the album, based on obviously that period in time. But we've since expanded on this foundation with an EP in the works scheduled for 2023. Nice. And that theme and tone has significantly grown. So this album is basically a representation of that point in time and the foundation for where the project is moving forward.
Right. And how about musically with the album? Like, did you experiment much?
Oh, mate, yeah, did we experiment? So, look, that's the premise of it, and I'm hopeful that resonates with our audience. So, we experimented immensely. We expanded the musicianship from around 9 personnel to over 30.
Wow.
And obviously, with that expansion in musicianship, also was instrumentation. So, we expanded the influence of genre throughout the album. So, what we really tried to do was combine artists from a variety of genre. For example, classical, reggae, rock, instrumental, R&B, even salsa, like in an attempt to have a unique element or feel to the album production.
Yeah.
So we allowed them to express their own creativity at times, which in our opinion provided a bit of a unique characteristic that's not generally found on metal albums that are generally performed by metal musicians. So out of the over 30 musos involved, only a handful are generally like heavy metal musos. So I'd like to think that that's quite experimental.
And last time we spoke, mate, about Project 34, it was a band shrouded in mystery. Like, have you revealed anything more about the band since then?
Yeah, mate. So the mystery is slowly but surely dissipating. Look, just to mention, the first thing I'd like to note is we actually don't describe ourselves as a band.
Right.
We're actually more a collaborative network of musos from all around the world, just continually growing. So I look at this as a project as opposed to a band, given the writing and recording dynamic. So in terms of how we do things, we basically utilize specific people and personnel based on the feel and vibe we're trying to achieve on a particular track. And then the majority of the song is actually initiated and brought to life by Renee and myself. So it's basically our objective was to orchestrate a platform that brought local and international music talent together from a variety of genres to collaborate in a unique way. And I think it delivers a bit of a unique musical experience, bringing the world together during that time of lockdown. So that's basically what I can say about the project in a nutshell. So yeah, the mystery is slowly but surely dissipating, and we're sort of becoming a lot more open and out there with respect to the process and outcomes.
Good. So by the next time we talk to you, we might actually know your identities.
Yeah, probably.
All right, mate. Well, thanks very much for your time with that. Well, shit, I've just lost my cheek. I've just lost my cheek.
Nah, mate, you're right. I really appreciate your support, guys. And as I said again, thank you, Heavy, for all your support. Thanks, Chris, for the interview. Really looking forward to obviously the album release. Stay tuned. We'll have obviously a premiere on the 1st of October for Heritage, followed by official video for our track Prayer on the 1st of November, and the full album release on the 1st of December. So stay tuned, and I really appreciate all your support, lads. Thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure, mate. We'll catch up soon.